dear students. Today we are going to study the next chapter, the sixth chapter, Weathering the Storm in Ersama. The cyclone that hit Orissa in October 1999 killed thousands of people and devastated hundreds of villages. For 2 dreadful nights, Prashant, a young man, was marooned on the roof of a house. On the third day, he decided to go to his village. Did he find his family? So there are some kind of cyclones or any kind of earthquakes or this type of some calamities are there. So at that time, there are people, those who have, they lose their family members and they undergo so many kind of struggles. So we have not faced such kind of situations, but there are so many people, those who have faced such kind of situations. So here, this is the story of a person, a boy who has faced such kind of a situation. Okay, so let us see what happens and how he is able to survive in such a very complicated situation. On 27th October 1999, 7 years after his mother's death, Prasant had gone to the block headquarters of Ersama, a small village town in coastal Orissa, some 18 kilometers from his village, to spend the day with a friend. So he traveled to a new place, as a particular place called Ersama. It is the headquarters of their district, and he had gone there for meeting his own friend and spending a day with his friend. In the evening, a dark and menacing storm quickly gathered. Winds beat against the houses with a speed and fury that Prashant had never witnessed before. So in the evening they were staying in that house, and in the evening they found that there was a wind, very powerful storm started coming, and it was such kind of a very strong storm that he has never faced or never witnessed. Heavy and incessant rain filled the darkness. Ancient trees were uprooted and crashed on the earth. So it started to rain, and continuous rain was there. So for many hours it was continuously raining, and even the very ancient trees, very big trees, which has been there for many years, even when there was storm or a small wind and all was there at that time and all, nothing happened to these trees. But this much big trees also had been fallen down, uprooted. So you can understand the power of the storm and the power of the rain. The screams rent the air as people and houses were swiftly washed away. The angry waters swelled into his friend's house, neck deep. The building was of brick and mortar and was strong enough to survive the devastation of the wind velocity of 350 km per hour. So they had a very the water started entering into their house, and up to the neck deep, means inside their house the water was there up to the neck level. So that much amount of water started coming, but they had a very strong house, so that is why the house has not fallen down. The power of the wind was 350 km per hour. So the power speed of the wind is there. So you can understand, like a normal wind that we are having in our area and all is like some 60-70 km per hour. If a car is moving 60 km hour and if it is hitting on something, so it can even destroy the things. So you can understand the wind which is having a power of more than 350. It is just like an aeroplane is flying. So that speed, in that speed, this wind was there, and even though it's a strong, the house was a little strong, so that is why they could survive there. But the cold terror of the family grew with the crashing of trees that had got uprooted and fallen on their house. So, but there once the house was somewhat strong enough, but they were unable to stay in such a situation. And some tree had fallen down into onto the top of their house. Sometime in the middle of the night, damaging its roof and walls. So like a tree had fallen down, and their roof and the walls have been damaged. The crazed destruction wrought made by the cyclone and the surge of the ocean continued for the next 36 hours. So this situation continued for around 36 hours continuously for around 1.5 days. Continuously raining and the storm. Although wind speed has reduced somewhat by the next morning, to escape the waters rising in the house, Prashant and his friend's family had taken refuge on the roof. So by the time this much amount of water was there, so his first floor was fully, that ground floor was fully filled with water. So they had no any other way. So they had to take refuge on the roof of the house. They had to climb on. They have to go to the roof of their house because in their entire family, entire house was fully filled with water. Prashant will never forget the shock he experienced at first glimpse of the devastation wrought by the super cyclone. In the grey light of the early morning, a deadly brown sheet of water covered everything as far as the eye could see. So when they are standing on the top of the roof, they in the morning, when the early morning, when it is just like sunlight is there, so everywhere he can see that only like a brownish color, like muddy color, water is there. Water is fully filled with a brownish color. As much as you can see, full area is fully covered with the water. That is the only thing that he can see, and only some things are just lying on the water, just moving in the water. Only those things are visible. I could see only fractured cement houses still stood in a few places. Bloated animal carcasses and a human corpse floated in every direction. All round, even huge old trees had fallen. 2 coconut trees had fallen on the roof of their house. This was a blessing in disguise, because the tender coconuts from the trees kept the trapped family from starving in the several days that followed. So when he had seen around, only thing that he was able to see is some dead bodies of the animals and even humans. Okay, so some dead bodies, corpses were just lying down, and just was moving in the water. So that is the only thing that he can see. And some broken houses, so cement houses was there, but some part of that has been broken. Only some part of the house is standing still. And some trees had fallen, like 2 coconut trees had fallen into their house, and that was only food. See, like they could take the tender coconut from the coconut tree, and they could survive with that. So they had to stay in that roof of the house for many days. So that was the only food. They don't have food, and all the things which was there in their house was fully filled with water, and now they have nothing to survive. For the next 2 days, Prashant sat huddled with his friend's family in the open of the rooftop. They froze in the cold and incessant rain. The rainwater washed away Prashant's tears. The only thought that flashed through his mind was whether his family had survived the fury of the super cyclone. Was he to be bereaved once again? So he, when the continuous rain was there at that time, he lost all his worries and tensions, and the tears was there lost. But he had only one tension, one problem that he was there. One thought was there in his mind was about his family, whether his family members. So if in this area a cyclone is there, in his village also there will be cyclone, and in his village the house and other type of things may not be that much strong that as he is having now. So the people, they might have what happened to them, they will be able to meet the family or not. So these are the tensions that he is having. 2 days later, which seemed to Prashant like 2 years, the rains ceased and the rainwater slowly began to recede. Prashant was determined to seek out his family without further delay. But the situation was still dangerous, and his friend's family pleaded with Prashant to stay back a little while longer. But Prashant knew he had to go. So then next day, after 2 days, again 2 days continued, but the 2 days was almost like 2 years. Means it was, the time was not going, and he was unable to handle the situation. So he was feeling that it is just like 2 years. So he continued, even though there was so much amount of difficulties, water started reducing. Then also, but the area was not fully free, or people were unable to travel like that. But he wanted to go back to his village. But the friend's family, they did not allow him to go, because it is very dangerous to travel like that. but he anyhow decided that it is not, he has to somehow he has to go. So the remaining portion we study in the next class. Okay, thank you so much.